Is this on? Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Muhammad Indra Fatrul Hafiz. So for today, I'm going to give you an analysis of a poem titled Lost Philosophy. But before we begin, I think it will be better to familiarize ourselves with a said poem. So, Lost Philosophy is made by Percy B. Shelley, born in England on 4th August 1792 and sadly passed away on 8th of July 1822. So, a brief history about Percy B. Shelley is that he is a man who loves nature. He attended Eton, which is a public school, and there he read a lot of work from a philosopher named William Godwin. William Godwin believed in freedom and equality, but he was also an atheist. So after reading some of Godwin's idea, Percy too became an atheist. So in 1810, Percy went to Oxford University, where he became friend with Thomas Jefferson Hogg. So they wrote poetry together, but also wrote a leaflet about atheism, telling people that they should not believe in God. So at the time, this was incredibly shocking. I apologize if there is a noise in the background. So back to our discussion. So this was incredibly shocking. So these two young men were expelled from Oxford University because of it in 1811. His father obviously going to be upset and want him to renounce his leaflet, but he refused to do so, which then caused some rift between him and his father. So Percy believed in pantheism, which is the idea that a divine spirit flows through universe, connecting everything. So when he was 19 years old, he eloped with a 16 years old named Harriet. They had children, but he ran away because he was not a faithful man. Uh, when he met his hero, which is Godwin, he fell in love with Godwin's daughter, which is Mary. Even though Godwin didn't approve Percy and Mary relationship, Percy divorced his previous wife, Harriet, and married Mary instead. In 1816, Percy and Mary met Lord Byron in Switzerland and became close friends. After that, Percy, Mary, and Byron wrote some poetry together until 1822, when Percy sadly passed away because he drowned in a sailing accident when he was only 19 years old. Now, throughout his life, Percy has made a lot of poetry. The most notable works from him are Ozymandias, Music When So Voices Die, stanzas written in dejection near Naples, Mont Blanc, To a Skylark, Lost Philosophy, and many more. Now, in this video, I'm going to use one of his work, which is Lost Philosophy. Well, how does Lost Philosophy looks like or sounds like, you might ask? The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by Allah divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves collapse one another. No sister flower will be forgiven if it disdain its brother. And the sunlight claps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? I hope that recitation of mine, you can at least get a good grip on the poem that I'm about to analyze here. Now, before we begin, I'm going to divide my analysis into three different aspects. So the first one is physical, the second one is acoustic, and the third one is lexical or language aspect. For this particular video, I'm going to only give a brief analysis regarding the physical and the acoustic aspect, while the main topic of my discussion will be the main topic of my analysis will be the lexical or the language aspect. That being said, the physical aspect that I'm about to explain here is actually quite lengthy, so please bear with me. So, Lost Philosophy consists of 16 lines and 2 stanzas. Based on my observation, the scansions used in Lost Philosophy are as follows. So for the first stanza, first line, we have tetrameter iambic plus 0. The second line is dimeter trochaic and monometer anapastic plus 0. The third line is dimeter iambic, monometer anapastic, and monometer trochaic. The fourth line is monometer anapastic and monometer iambic plus 0. The fifth line is monometer trochaic, monometer anapastic, and monometer spondaic plus 0. The sixth line is dimeter iambic and monometer anapastic. Excuse me, if you hear any kind of noise outside of my video, I apologize for it. Moving on to the seventh line, we have monometer iambic, dimeter trochaic, and monometer spondaic. And the eighth line is monometer spondaic and monometer trochaic plus 1. Moving on to the second stanza, for the ninth line, we have monometer anapastic, monometer iambic, and monometer spondaic plus 0. The 10th line is trimeter trochaic and monometer spondaic. The 11th line is dimeter dactylic and dimeter trochaic. The 12th line is monometer dactylic and dimeter trochaic. 13th line is monometer trochaic, monometer spondaic, and monometer dactylic. The 14th line is dimeter trochaic and monometer dactylic. The 15th line is dimeter trochaic and monometer spondaic. The 16th line, the last one is monometer spondaic and monometer trochaic plus 1. And that's all for the physical aspect. Moving on to the next aspect, which is acoustic. In acoustic aspect, we're going to discuss the rhyme of Lost Philosophy. So let's begin. So let's take a look at the first until the fourth line. We have the fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. You can see the ABAB pattern there. Now, let's read further for a full stanza. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? You see, another ABAB pattern there. So, for a whole stanza, we can assume that Lost Philosophy used ABAB and CDCD pattern. To further prove this, let's take a look at the second stanza. See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves collapse one another. No sister flower would be forgiven, if it disdain its brother. Another ABAB pattern. And the next line is as follows. And the sunlight claps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? ABAB pattern again. So the second stanza is also an ABAB and CDCD pattern. From this we can conclude that the whole poems of Lost Philosophy use ABAB and CDCD pattern. Now, for the last aspect, we're going to analyze, which I also consider as the main dish, the main course of this video, is the lexical or the language aspect. For this section, we're going to analyze and break down the meaning of Lost Philosophy, 2 lines at a time. So, the first 2 lines, the fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. Starting off strong, we can see in this line that it shows us that nature consists of things that are paired together. As an example given here is that the fountains are connected with the river and rivers with the ocean. Another interesting thing we can find in here is that it uses water, which is another representation, which is, of course, water also represent the sense of connection, because water is connected with one another. Simply beautiful, you know. Next one. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Again, another example of how things are paired with one another. If previously love's philosophy used water as its representation of connection, this time we are seeing a winds of heaven, which is forever mixed with a sweet emotion. What does that mean? Well, the explanation for this is that heaven is always known for a place with no worries and pure happiness, right? A beautiful place where, you know, there can only be a happy feeling, or, you know, as the poem suggests, a sweet emotion. Moving on to the next one. Nothing in the world is single, all things by law divine. In here we see how the author emphasized that everything in this world was made in pair, by stating that nothing in the world is single, all things by law divine. As God wills it, right? We as a human cannot change that. That's just how the natures work. Everything is in pair. Next up is the last line for the first stanza. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? Pretty seductive, I must say, because of course this is a romantic poems after all. Pause. In here I mentioned love's philosophy is about romantic poetry. Well, while it is true, it's not entirely true. I mean, it depends on your point of view of the word romantic itself. We often categorize the word romantic with love or state of being in love. However, the word romantic was translated differently for poets. The word romantic here means an overflowing amount of emotion or feeling. So keep that in mind as we move on with the video. Future Indra signing out. So after the examples given by the author previously, he then asks, you know, if everything is made in pair, why not you pair with me, you know? Why not I with thine? If that's pretty smooth. You know, moving on to the second stanza, we have see the mountains, kiss high heaven, and the waves collapse one another. Kissing. Yes, you hear me right, the second stanza is about kissing. Unlike the first stanza, which is about how everything is in pair, the second stanza emphasizes things that are kissing each other. The first examples that the author give here is how the mountains are kissing high heaven. Why? Well, because the mountain is tall and so does heaven. At least that's how I knew it. You know, I just know that the heaven is right above there. And the waves collapse one another. Yes, you see, so when you are on the beach, the waves just clap, just smashing each other. Well, we can also say that they are kissing each other aggressively, right? And to the next one, we have no sister flower will be forgiven if it disdain its brother. We see the usage of sister flower and brother flower. So the author represent the flower here as brothers and sisters. So when he said no sister flower will be forgiven if it disdain its brother, what he meant is that there almost no benefit for the flowers to betray their own siblings. Now, if we take a look back at the first stanza, which how it represents itself about how everything is made in pair as intended by nature, this particular line shows us that there almost no benefit for us to betray the rules of nature. Next line. And the sunlight claps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. Again, another example of how things are kissing each other. The sunlight kissing the earth, and the moonbeams are kissing the sea. Same rules as the previous one. But another interesting things that I found in this particular line is that the author used like to represent the one who's kissing. We see sunlight and moonbeams, or moonlight, same thing, you know. We can assume that lights in here as a symbol of hope, which the author perhaps hope that the message he conveys are properly sent to his loved one. Now finally arrive at the last line. What is all this sweet work worth if thou kiss not me? The author here state things like, you know, why am I even trying to work hard if you don't want to kiss me? What's the point? You know, so all of those examples that he previously mentioned all led up to this particular line, which his wish to be kissed by his loved one. And with that, I concluded my video. Thank you all for watching. Smash that like button, subscribe if this video is on YouTube. But you know, hey, I'm not forcing you. See you next time. Bye bye.